Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the digital detective's playbook. We're going to look at how investigators gather intel online, starting with the absolute first and maybe most important step, reconnaissance.
So let's kick things off with a simple question. Think about that last photo you posted online. Maybe a vacation pic or what you had for lunch. Seems pretty harmless, doesn't it? Well, what if I told you that one picture could basically be a treasure map full of clues about you?
Yeah, that simple photo, you can actually interrogate it. With a tool like ExifTool, just one command can pull out all this hidden data. It's called metadata. And the stuff you can find, it's pretty staggering. I'm talking precise GPS coordinates, the exact date and time, even the model of the camera used. All of a sudden, that photo isn't just a photo anymore. It's a full-blown story of who, what, where, and when.
Okay, before we get any deeper, we need to get something straight. This is super, super important. Everything we're talking about today is purely for educational purposes. You should never use these techniques on systems you don't own or have explicit written permission to test. Seriously, the only thing that separates a security pro from a criminal is permission. So always practice this stuff in a safe, controlled lab environment.
All right, so what is digital reconnaissance really? Well, it's pretty much the first step in almost any cybersecurity operation. Doesn't matter if you're on the defense or the offense. It's all about gathering intel, and there are basically two main ways to go about it.
So here are the two styles. On one side, you've got Passive Recon, which we're calling the ghost. Think of it like a detective on a stakeout. You're just watching, gathering public information from a distance, never making direct contact. You're basically invisible. Then on the other side, you have the NOC, or Active Recon. This is totally different. Now you're walking right up and interacting with the target's systems, literally knocking on their digital doors. It's noisy, it's going to set off alarms, and yeah, you absolutely need permission for this.
Okay, let's start in the shadows. We're going to be the ghost. Let's dive into the art of passive gathering and see just how much a digital detective can find out about a target without anyone ever knowing they were there.
So our first tool is an absolute classic in the world of OSINT. That's open source intelligence, by the way. It's called the Harvester, and its job is pretty straightforward. It scours all sorts of public sources, think search engines, social media, you name it, to scoop up things like emails, names, and subdomains connected to a target.
And this is what that looks like in practice. It's a simple command. You just tell the Harvester your target, here we're using our safe practice target, juiceshop.demo, and then where to look. That little -B all part just tells it, hey, go look everywhere you can. Then you just hit enter and let it do its thing. And boom! Look at the kind of intel it brings back. We've got potential email addresses, super useful for things like phishing attacks down the line. We've also found different companies' servers or hosts, like an API server. Every single one of these is a potential way in. And the key thing to remember, we found all this without ever touching the target's systems. It's pure passive intel.
Okay, so finding a few emails and hosts is a great start, for sure. But the real goal is to use these breadcrumbs to build a full map of the target's entire digital footprint. We're on the hunt for all the doors, especially the ones they might have forgotten they even have.
So check this out. One of the most powerful passive tricks is digging through what are called certificate transparency logs. You know that little padlock you see in your browser for a secure connection? Well, every time a site gets one of those, a public record is made. It's like a giant public phone book for every secure website on the internet, and anyone can just flip through it. Now, this command might look a little crazy, I get it, but really all it's doing is asking that giant public library, crt.sh, a really simple question. It's just saying, hey, show me every single server name that's ever been registered for our target, juiceshop.demo. And here's where it gets really good. Look at the results. We don't just see the main website. We see a store subdomain, which is interesting, but then, bingo, admin.juiceshop.demo. Finding a hidden admin portal is like finding the keys to the kingdom just lying on the sidewalk. It's a huge find, and we got it just by reading a public record. Incredible. All right, so we've been a ghost. We've gathered a ton of intel from the shadows. Now it's time to change tactics. We're going to stop hiding and start knocking. Let's talk about active scans. Okay, this is where things get loud. With active scanning, we're actually sending little bits of data or packets right to the target servers just to see what they say back.
We're directly poking them and asking questions, and because of that, this is super easy for security systems to detect, which is why, and I can't stress this enough, you absolutely must have permission before you even think about doing this.
And just look at the detail you get from a tool like Nmap. It gives you a whole list of open ports, which are basically the digital doors into a server. But it gets better. It doesn't just tell you a door is open. It tells you exactly what kind of service is running behind that door, and even the specific version of the software. And that right there is gold. Why? Because an old, outdated piece of software can be a wide-open invitation for an attacker.
So, look, gathering all this data is a pretty impressive technical skill. But what you do with it, that's what really counts. This is where the ethics come in. And it is the single most important thing that separates a security professional from a criminal.
And the heart of that ethical framework is something called responsible disclosure. It's the code you live by. When you find a problem, you don't go and exploit it, no. You privately report it to the owners, give them all the details, and give them a fair chance to fix it before you tell the world. It's all about working together to make the internet a safer place.
So you might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but how do I practice this stuff safely and legally? Well, here's your 4-step plan. First, set up a safe target, like the OWASP Juice Shop, on your own computer. Second, run your passive tools against it. Third, run your active scanners like Nmap only against that local setup. And fourth, and this might be the most important skill, practice writing up your findings in a clear, professional report.
So there you have it. We've just walked through the digital detective's playbook. We've seen how they work from the shadows and what happens when they start knocking on doors. Which really just leaves one big question, right? Now that you've seen how it all works, what clues is your organization, or maybe even just you personally, leaving behind? Because understanding your own digital footprint, well, that's the real first step to keeping it safe.